This is The Daily Divide. Labour is reeling from its defeat in the Tamaki Makaurau by-election where Te Pāti Māori's Orini Kaipara bet Penny Herare by a clear margin. The loss has sparked tough questions about Labour's standing in the Māori electorates and its future relationship with Te Pāti Māori. The fallout was sharpened by a social media post from Te Pāti Māori MP Takata Where's, criticising non-Māori volunteers campaigning for Labour. Senior Labour MPs Willie Jackson and Penny Herare called the post racist, but Chris Hitkins stopped short, saying that it was only unhelpful and out of step with the inclusive campaign he wants to run. Te Pāti Māori apologised and told Where's to delete the post, but Kipkins says whether the two parties can work together will depend on the direction Te Pāti Māori takes. Labour insists it will fight hard for the Māori seats in 2026, but admits it has work to do to reconnect with those voters. A newly released Treasury paper warns the government's goal of cutting spending to 30% of GDP could mean fewer and lower quality public services. Officials said that without a surge in revenue or productivity, the plan risks reduce access to health and education and even freezing working for families' thresholds, cutting real incomes for 300,000 households. Treasury also noted the rising costs from an ageing population and higher debt servicing are squeezing budgets, with health alone projected to hit 8.5% of GDP by 2038. To meet the 30% target, that figure would need to fall around 6%, a $10 billion gap in today's money. Finance Minister Nicola Willis downplayed the modelling, saying future governments will make their own choices and health and education remain priorities. But Labour's Barbara Edmonds accused National of underfunding key services, warning more cuts are coming. Labour's finance spokesperson Barbara Edmonds says she's open to a debate on lifting the Reserve Bank's inflation target from the current 1 to 3% range to a 2.5% midpoint in line with Australia. Supporters argue it better reflects economic reality, but Finance Minister Nicola Willis has ruled it out, saying it would mean tolerating higher living costs. Former Reserve Bank Chair Arthur Grimes blasted the idea as ludicrous, insisting the 2% goal is achievable. Meanwhile, New Zealand First flagship KiwiSaver policy is under scrutiny. Winston Peters wants the compulsory contributions for workers and employers rising to 10% with tax cuts to offset the cost. Analysts say that could blow a hole in the government's revenue, anywhere from $12 billion to $28 billion a year, roughly the size of the annual health budget. Peters disputes the figures, but business groups warn the plan could push some firms to start cutting staff or shift them to contracting roles. Health New Zealand has revealed Wellington Hospital's emergency department is in crisis, with a third of patients treated in corridors and wait times among the worst in the country. Fewer than half of the patients are seen within 6 hours, 1 in 10 leave without care, and overcrowding has led to more medical errors and even higher patient mortality. The ED is described as clinically and culturally unsafe, with no access to basics like call bells, oxygen or isolation facilities for those in corridors. Multi-Pacific and disabled patients are disproportionately affected. Staff say they're suffering mortal injury from being unable to provide dignified care. Budget 2025 has approved a full rebuild, including 126 new beds due by 2029. Officials say without the upgrade, the hospital won't be able to meet the region's health needs. MP's financial interests are back in the spotlight, with the latest pecuniary register showing nearly 30 parliamentarians own shares in companies ranging from Silver Fern Farms and Vector to Amazon. Many more hold investments through trust, farms or managed funds. Critics say that while disclosure is welcome, conflicts of interest remain a grey area, and some experts argue MPs should divest entirely if they stand to benefit from laws they vote on. Others warn it's too extreme and could deter people from entering politics. Meanwhile, Defence and Security Minister Judith Collins is in London for high-level Five Eyes talks. She's meeting counterparts from the US, UK, Canada and Australia to discuss counter-terrorism, border security and tackling child exploitation and people smuggling. Collins says New Zealand can't work in isolation on national security, while Britain has promised renewed crackdown on smuggling gangs. Charter schools are gaining momentum, with Kaikohe's Northland College becoming the first state school to publicly declare it wants to convert. Associate Education Minister David Seymour says that about half a dozen schools could be operating as charters by next year, with around 20 in talks with the Charter Schools Agency. The coalition has set aside $153 million for 15 new schools and up to 35 state school conversions through 2026. So far, 11 new charters have been approved, 8 already open and 3 more due next year. Northland College says it needs the shift to lift results for its mostly Māori students, with iwi backing. But the Post-Primary Teachers Association argues it's a failure of the state system that a public school feels forced to convert, and ward staff will need support through the transition.